welcome y'all to Backwoods Obscura, a podcast dedicated to the lore, legends, and myths surrounding the creatures that may lurk in your backyard. My name's Hewitt.
I'm Chris. How you doing, man?
I am frustrated this week.
That sounds about... my week was not frustrating, believe it or not. But, yeah, you were talking about it earlier before we started recording.
Yeah, leap testing, end of the school year, all of that type of stuff. Had a student intentionally, and admitted to me they intentionally did this, scored a approaching basic because they would pass, but it wouldn't give me any points towards my evaluation or the school any points towards its evaluation.
How did he...
2 points. 2 points away from a basic, intentional.
Why would the kid do that?
Because you can pass with if you get a 68 on the test, it's approaching basic.
Oh, was he trying to, get at you for it? Or
more like going at the school.
Oh.
And this student was just done. They've been talking to a recruiter. They stopped showing up back in January, really. So that was fun. All the other students I got scored high basic, almost advanced, and one advanced so far. I'm waiting on my regular ed class.
Well, that's good.
Now, and a lot of them said, I don't know how I did. I wrote down random stuff, and I'm like, we literally just covered all this. Any case, I'm not really frustrated at that. That happens every year. I'm frustrated because I have adults asking me why I've not completed something, and it's because they haven't sent me the stuff to complete.
Oh, it's one of those, lack of communications, but you should know everything?
Well, it's, why have you not submitted this? You never gave me the link to the information. Yes, I did. Did you send it to my first name dot last name at the school's email address, or did you send it to my middle name dot last name at the school's email address? The middle one. That email doesn't exist. The school uses my government name. Oh, well, we'll get it to you on Monday. Cool.
Well, technically, Hewitt is your government name, but it's your second government name.
I make a joke about my first name being my government name.
Oh.
So it's frustrating because it's people telling me what to do that have not done what they're supposed to do, and therefore I don't do anything until you get me my resources. So there's been a whole lot of do nothing, hurry up, do nothing. Surprise, you're giving an extra test, and we're not going to tell you until kids show up at your door. So I've been frustrated at grown people.
Well, there's one thing you can be happy about this week, is that we got a new pope, and what that new pope means, the official pizza of the Vatican
is now a deep dish pizza. The body of Christ is going to be thick.
Suck it, New York.
We're going to have a full-bodied Christ, not some thin, flimsy.
Nice, thick body of Christ, if you know what I mean. I mean a lot of cheese and sauce and sausage.
And the whole reason he's that heavy is he had to carry all your sins.
It's true. It's true.
Anyway, let's get off that sacrilege and move on to something else. What do you know about the Dauphine New Orleans?
Dauphine New Orleans?
Yep.
Nothing.
Well, it's a hotel.
It sounded like a hotel. I was going to say, is this a hotel?
Yes, it is a hotel. It is located at 415 Dauphine Street, New Orleans, Louisiana, 70112. In the middle of the French Quarter, just a block off of Bourbon Street.
I think I might have heard of this. You know, when it comes to a lot of things in Louisiana, it's always, I've heard of this. What is
it? See, it is a mixture of buildings on both sides of Dauphine Street. It's got has an 1820s Creole cottage, 1830s federal style, as well as some other buildings, because they've just kind of, over the centuries, it just kind of absorbed what was around it. It's mostly a salmon-colored Creole/French Quarter style 3-story building.
So it has the classic
New Orleans color.
Yeah.
It has 100 rooms currently. It has open courtyards and a pool. It has been a landmark in the city in one form or another since the early 1800s. The main hotel has standard and queen size rooms. The carriage house and Herman suites are larger with king size beds. There is also the May Bailey suite that is above the bar. Rooms vary from $120 to $300 a night on average.
That's not bad for New Orleans.
No, it's not. And like 300 is going to be like May Bailey king size suite, like the specialty rooms. But like 120 for a room 1 block away from Bourbon during off times, not bad. It has the standard amenities. Many of the rooms have balconies. Now, I'll be honest, they are the French Quarter style balconies. So
where you feel like you're gonna fall.
Where it's like you know that they're solid, but like the railing is low, they're narrow, and if you're a thick boy like me, you're like, I just have to shuffle to the side to my chair.
And it's like one of those ones where it feels like it's like a thin slab of concrete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also going to say this. The website kind of sucks, and it makes everything look bougie because the current owners of the hotel also own several other properties, including the Audubon Suites. And those are some higher end, and it's like they all use the exact same format.
It's like they went to Squarespace and just had like the same template for each one.
For all their hotels, yes. Let me give you some history here.
Not sponsored.
The plot was originally owned by Andres Omester y Rosses, owned much of the French Quarter in the late 1700s. A portion of the property was also one of the old sites of Charity Hospital.
Okay.
Because remember, the very first Charity was off of Delphine.
Right, yeah.
1808 to 1811, the property was owned by Augustine McCarthy, who was either Madame Delphine Larie's cousin or uncle. Records are not sure which Augustine it was, because there was a couple.
Right, yeah.
1815, it was bought by Joseph Fournet, a free person of color. A portion of the property belonged to a German cotton merchant, Samuel Herman. He built a large federal-style home, but lost it in 1837 when the English cotton market crashed. So already, the spot that the Delphine's on is pretty well known and has been owned by some well-known figures within the city. Now, most of the old Herman House is now a museum on St. Louis Street, but the carriage house and the stables are not officially are now part of the hotel.
So they just like merged the buildings together?
Well, they all kind of back up to each other.
Oh, so they're like kind of sandwiched together.
Yeah, it's like, so the hotel's on either side of Dauphine Street, and then the Herman House is like on the side street right here. Yeah. So the backs would open up to each other off to the, like the old interior courtyards.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we have some places almost like that in Antique Alley.
Yeah. Nails from Lafitte's blacksmith shop were used in the construction of a portion of the property. Now, in the late 1820s, James Audubon painted his pictures of birds on the property and also painted several of the exposed beams.
So is this the same Audubon that the other place is named after?
Yes.
Okay.
And they actually have protected plexiglass or protected coverings over the original paintings so that you can see them and then not be exposed to the air.
Right.
So one of the most expensive rooms is the Audubon suite.
It like, what kind of paint is it? Was it like the old
oil?
Old oil, like, so it was like, was it like the egg? No, it wouldn't have been egg mixture, would it?
No, it's. I think it was just old oil paints because he did a lot of. I believe he did some watercolors, but I think most of the work that Audubon did was actually in oil.
I'm like desperately trying to go back into my art history background and pull up like my knowledge of old paint and pigments.
Now, some of the paintings are on display in where they now serve breakfast and have the buffet. Again, protected just like the Audubon suite. In 1857, May Bailey's place opened up here. Now, it was advertised as a sporting club for respectable gentlemen. It was a bordello and a brothel.
As you do.
Prices ranged 1850s, like pre-Civil War dollars here, ranged $5 to $25 a night.
Oh.
$25 mid 1800s monies.
That's a
hefty penny.
That's like what, like 2000?
I don't know. You got a phone. Okay. Look up a calculator.
Okay, inflation calculator. Let's do this.
Let's figure this out. $25 in 1857.
I might have to go with the UK one because I don't think the US was tracking their inflation the same way.
Yeah. 25 US dollars.
Which would be about $30.
No, it would be about $19, $20 pound sterling.
Let's do 19 pound sterling. 1,830.
So you're right. It's almost $2,000 today. That must have been a hell of a night.
I hope so.
I think that was renting the whole place. Now, May Bailey.
You ever think about the fact that if we were to actually travel back in time, we'd be millionaires, except we wouldn't be able to use the money because we have, digital.
Yeah, I know.
Like amorphous money, whereas they actually use like dollars. I mean, I use.
Whenever I have cash, like I think I have like $3 cash in my wallet right now because I'm like, I had a 20 and I bought some stuff for the kids.
But it's just fun thinking like maybe I can go back and then
Do you look at it and your money adjusted for the time?
Yeah, it's like, oh, hell yeah. But then you go back and it's like, oh, they have like syphilis and shit. Like
didn't go away. It's still around. But anyway, talking about syphilis, May Bailey, no, she didn't have it. May Bailey became a madam due to losing her family to yellow fever in New Orleans. So
I think that was the one I was actually thinking of.
Yeah. Now, I want you to understand something. It was illegal in the city of New Orleans to run a brothel. So when May Bailey was arrested, she came in and she said, I'm not going to stop. How much is the fine for 5 years of operation?
And
she slapped the money on the table. And they gave her an official license because of this. They're like, wait, you can pay like 5 years worth of this fine? She goes, yeah, cash right now. Pulled like the titty nickels out and paid them. Because I'm assuming she had a bustier or,
Yeah. That is a bad bitch right there.
And so the city gave her a license, and it is still on display in the bar.
So they have it
framed and protected, the original license for May Bailey to operate May Bailey's Place, a sporting club, in the city of New Orleans.
Ah, yes, a sporting club. That's what they call it.
Now, this area eventually became a portion of Storyville by 1897. Now, Storyville was the 38-block red light district of New Orleans to quarantine the sin of the city. So Bourbon Street was the southern border.
Okay.
So all the ne'er-do-wells, all the inappropriate stuff would go down to Storyville. The cops patrolled Storyville, but they also might sample Storyville.
They're like, yeah, this is bad. This is bad. Wow, how much is it? 20 cents? Oh, that's just horrible. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. The
cop pulls out his titty nickels.
He pulls out the titty nickels,
Oh, God. And for anybody that's listening, the only reason I say titty nickels is my wife worked retail for a very long time. Chris worked in the restaurant industry for a long time, and before I taught, I was a cashier and theater operator, and the number of people who would pull change out of a bra,
it was unsettling.
Boob dollars were one thing, because I can like Lysol that, set it to the side before I make everything else sticky in the register. But no, like when someone like reaches and starts like, they reach in like it's an anime and pull out $5 in quarters.
It's like, that's gotta be uncomfortable.
That had to pinch something, like...
Yeah, or, like, just feeling that, like, on your chest, and then, yeah.
Now, 92 to 98 Dauphine, now rooms 416 to 430, was known as the White Elephant Room, another brothel.
Oh.
So instead of the Pink Pony Club, it was the White Elephant Room. This was the domain of Madam Eliza Riddle. Now, we mentioned that May Bailey was a bad bitch. Eliza Riddle robbed her clients, was arrested 24 times.
Oh, you go, girl.
Fined $500 over the course of her decades of operation. Spent a decade in the Louisiana women's prison, which was a lengthened stay from her original incarceration because she convinced a male friend to help her escape. It failed. He died in Angola.
Whoops.
She finished out her sentence in the women's prison and was released. And she went right back to doing what she had always done. She was known for fighting cops, hitting people with bottles, and was nicknamed the Beast of Dauphine, or the Creature of Dauphine.
That's a name. When you get the creature label, that's like a wrestler.
Like this
like,
is
I could see this lady coming out in like WWE.
like
The creature of Delphine.
it's just like when the Undertaker shows up, everybody goes silent and turns in fear.
You just hear the music and like the lights go out, and then she's behind you when the lights come back on.
Now, part of the White Elephant Room is now part of the Herman Museum, because the buildings of all kind of just push up to each other.
Right.
Now, in 1969, the Dauphine New Orleans opened as a newly renovated hotel. Since then, it has served as a luxury hotel in the French Quarter. It has been noted for being one of the most New Orleans hotels. Most New Orleans hotel. Like that's a little
the
bit
most New Orleanian hotel there is.
No, I'm going from I'm from a document like the most New Orleans hotel kind of situation.
That feels confusing.
It does. That's why I got tongue tied on it. Now, it has also been the site of many celebrations and weddings. In fact, this place is, because it's old.
Right.
It looks old. It fancy old.
Yeah, it's
so
like it has like is it the Spanish architecture?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it has like that same look.
So these bougie people in the South go there for their big events and especially weddings because it's a great place for a good photo opportunity.
Yeah, it sounds like, despite like it seeming bougie, I mean, like at least the hotel version doesn't seem too expensive.
I mean, you still check in through a portion that used to be a stable. So like it's like you pull into a carriage house and then there is a massive courtyard, because like you're going down a narrow New Orleans street and then you take a right and you're in a courtyard.
Yeah, that's about right for New Orleans.
Now, ghosts. Let's talk about some of the ghosts here. So let me move some things out the way. Glasses are noted to fall from storage in the bar.
Right. Classic.
Pop off of the hanging stuff above the bar. There are disembodied footsteps. There are shadow people, cold spot orbs, lights and faucets turning off and on. TVs turning on and off. Now, we don't always give that a lot of credit because there's wiring issues.
Old house.
Disembodied voices. New Orleans has such weird acoustics that you can be hearing a saxophone played 3 blocks away, but the people like 5 feet down the road from you are completely silent.
Yeah. The thing is, too, it's like you could hear it 5 blocks away where it sounds like it's coming from the other side, too.
Right.
Like, it's a very, like, the French Quarter is a very weird, like, block.
Yeah, it's a weird acoustic setup. Also, you can't throw a rock without finding somebody playing music in New Orleans.
Yeah, that's also.
And don't test that anybody going to New Orleans, because if you throw a rock and it hits a musician, I'm on the musician side for you getting that whooping.
Yeah, the jazz players don't fuck around down there.
No, they have a union.
Yeah.
It's not officially a union because we're not supposed to have those, but like I know that the people that do all the street work,
like the buskers
and the street performers and the beggars, the professional beggars, they're organized.
Really?
Mm-hmm. It's like one of the reasons I laugh with the Discworld series. There's the Beggars Guild. So like all the beggars have to go to school to learn how to beg properly, And if you're caught begging without a license, the Beggars Guild will take care of you, and the cops don't. The guard are like, well, he was begging without a license, and the guild took care of him. Write it off. And then go on about their way. And I'm like, same thing with the Assassin's Guild. Like, the Assassin's Guild and the Thieves Guild, how do you keep murders and theft to a low? You make them accountable for themselves.
I mean, that does make sense.
So,
I mean, although the idea of a Beggars Guild is, like Terry Pratchett does breach on absurd.
Yeah, but at the same time, tell me that does not make sense in New Orleans, that there'd be a guild for all of that.
Yeah, no. Like, the most New Orleans we're talking about the most New Orleanian thing is, like, if we're going to talk about that, we're going to talk about, like, the fact that everyone is organized there to make as much money as possible, doing the most wild shit that they can do.
You don't step on toes.
Yeah.
Because if you step on somebody's toes, there's canals.
Yeah, there's canals, there's the Mississippi.
So, now, also, an employee has been hit by the brochure shelf being thrown from a cubby near the entrance of the hotel. So, like, the thing that has, like, all, like, the ghost tours, fan boat tours, all that stuff, that is in, like, is in where there used to be, like, a phone.
Right.
So, it's up on something, and it wasn't just, like, it fell, it was thrown. Like, it came out. Like, someone had, this is Sparta 300, kicked it out of the cubby at her.
Oh, Lord. She's okay?
She was fine. It's a wire rack. It's just, here's the thing. We would both be like, what the fuck? Might be, like, a little scuffed up, but it's like, man, that goes to dick. Like, that would be our next thought. Like, you could just, like, straight up scare me.
It's like, what the fuck, Ghost?
Because now I got to put all the brochures back.
But if someone's, like a 5'2" lady.
It hurt, but, I mean, she was okay. Now, a ghost has been known to unlock and open the bar door at 5:30 in the morning.
Exactly at 5:4?
5:30 in the morning.
5:30?
That used to be some of the operating hours of the bar.
Oh.
And so they'll come back and find that the door is unlocked, and they know they locked it. Nothing's missing. No one's touched any money, so they know it's not somebody breaking in. Just the door's unlocked at 5:30. Bar stools have levitated and been thrown. Beds have been shaken and bounced, and it's not the kind you put a quarter in, so it doesn't automatically do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Which, by the way, I might be like, all right, Ghost, just keep going. I need like another half hour of this. Oh.
I had never actually, like, I remember growing up in the 90s and seeing that on a lot of, like, TV shows and movies.
I've stayed in some garbage hotels over my time.
Like, I always look at that as, like, why would you ever want to have, like, a vibrating bed? I guess it's, like...
the novelty. It's kind of like how water beds aren't actually good.
Yeah, I remember one of my friends having a waterbed, like their parents having a waterbed, and I regret, like, knowing what, you know, the connotations of a waterbed are now. I regret, like,
ever laying on it.
Yeah, it's like,
why is the sheet sticking to my back?
Yeah, it's like, what are these big stains?
Now, one of the things that's not cool that is a general report is that the ghost will move your stuff around in the room.
Oh, don't do that.
One extreme example is someone had their stuff moved from their suitcases to the closet, and it was reorganized. So either that's a ghost or like someone playing a pretty stellar prank on a newly married couple.
Just like, that would suck if they had like a health condition that, you know, they had all their stuff in there.
Yeah, I know. But like another one I heard is that someone had like all their clothes in the closet and then came back and found them folded in a dresser.
Well, that's nice.
Kinda, but also I'm like, ghost touch my undies.
Yeah, that's kind of weird, but you know, they're dead. They're like, they were like looking at the undies like, I remember when I wore something like this.
Why are they stained?
Mine were bigger. I had pantaloons.
But I don't want, you know, Fruit of the Booze to wear. But, so let's get into one of the most standard ghosts ever. The Phantom Bride.
Oh, we're talking about brides again.
Yep. It is believed to be the spirit of Millie Bailey, the younger sister of Madame Bailey. In 1861, she met a nice Confederate soldier and he proposed to her. However, he was then sent to Fort Donaldson and Fort Jackson to keep the Union from coming upriver and taking over the city. We know exactly how that went because they just ran past the forts and blew both of them pretty much up. Like, Fort Jackson still stands, sort of. The other one is sunk into the swamp and is just gone. But I mean, it was a wooden fort. Jackson was like stone and brick parapets.
Right.
However, he never came back in one version of the story. And so she had gotten her dress and was like, she's about to be an honest woman. She's not going to have to turn tricks anymore. And then he never returned and she died of a broken heart.
Oh, no.
Another version is on the day of their wedding, her fiance got shot due to gambling down in the bar below.
That's actually more, that's more apt.
Yeah. Now, she continued to work for her sister's establishment and occasionally would wear the dress to entertain clients for the right price. So I guess you could pay for a honeymoon experience. Hey, look, I'm going to say this. She turned lemons into lemonade with that.
Yeah, I mean, you do you, girl. I mean...
Now, she can be seen in May Bailey's occasionally looking sad near a window in her white dress or on one of the galleries walking by in her white dress. Mostly translucent. But again, I don't know if there's a single ghost story or place that we've really talked about that much that a ghost bride would not fit in because it seems to be the stereotype. Like, even Disney's Haunted Mansion has a ghost bride.
Like, we have I mean, we have an unreleased one that we just did with a ghost bride, or a woman in white, which is usually is...
McRaven has a female ghost that died shortly after being married.
I think there was the theater, Le Petit Theater.
Yep.
I mean, the bride on the side of the road is like, how many fucking roads have that story?
Well, I mean, there's just so many the woman in white stories.
Yeah.
Now let's move to another Southern stereotype. We have the rebel or the worried general.
Oh yeah, Confederate ghost. Yes.
Now he is seen pacing the courtyard, looking pensive. Now the bordello would occasionally take in wounded soldiers, Confederate and Union, after the Union occupation of New Orleans, because occasionally, every so often, a small number of Confederates would try to take back the city and fail. Now, apparently, he has appeared as, like I said, a translucent man in gray walking back and forth in some form of officer's outfit. In EVPs, they seem to have determined that his name is Eldridge.
That's a cool name.
Like his last name is Eldridge. Now, they believe that he is a Confederate general that was worried about the fall of the city in 1861 because once they ran the forts, there's no stopping the Union Navy coming to New Orleans. Because New Orleans itself did not have a lot of...
It wasn't fortified.
Well, it's kind of hard to fortify New Orleans. For one, large parts of the city are lower than sea level, but also they thought nobody was going to get through Vicksburg in the north or Natchez in the north, and nobody was going to get past the forts in the south. So, and also it's so far deep in the Confederacy, it was almost considered for the capital. And they didn't have a lot of military in the city. In fact, most Louisiana troops were in Virginia. The soldiers that were in Louisiana were mostly from Texas. Now, also, other Confederate ghosts have been seen walking in the hallway and walking into the bar late at night. Just residual stone tape style hauntings. There is a kind of a weird haunting known as the Dancing Girl. She has been seen dancing in the courtyard. She wanders between the hotel and two others and has been seen dancing on the sidewalk as she goes between the buildings. Usually she looks like a tween in a white dress. Occasionally she wears blue, so she might change her dresses in the afterlife, but people have seen her dancing between the hotels.
Oh, that's cool. And also sad.
The last, a courtesan. Now, seen as a tall white woman in a red dress. She knocks and moves bottles. She will push people out of their seats. She targets men, especially rude men.
Oh, so if a dude's acting out, she puts them in their place.
Mostly detected by poltergeist activity. There's a couple of EMFs. She did have an EVP saying she'd do what she wants.
Was this on Ghost Adventures?
No, this was not on Ghost Adventures, but no, the EVP that a ghost hunting group caught was, I do what I want.
Simple, straightforward.
She has appeared in mirrors in both the bathrooms, and she has locked people in the women's bathroom. Again, most of the men who went into a bathroom they were not supposed to go into.
I have a feeling this is one of the potentially, like, if we're gonna assume these ghosts are real, one of the ghosts of the
They believe it's May Bailey.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
They believe it's Madame Bailey's ghost that still takes care of her business, her building, her girls.
Like I said, bad bitch.
Yep.
Don't fuck with her.
Now, much like when we did the Lapete Theater, I went to TripAdvisor because this hotel has been stayed at by a lot of people, has appeared on multiple different ghost shows.
Okay.
The reviews from people are great. So here are just some of the ones from TripAdvisor. The room was dirty. I ain't seen no ghosts. Ghost touched me in my sleep. Could feel the cold spot, especially since the AC was out in this old ass place. So I'll give that one a little bit. Like if all of a sudden my room like drops severely in temperature and I got no AC because it's broken.
Yeah, it's like, oh well.
Ghost touched my booty.
I mean, I don't know what to say to that one.
Couldn't sleep. Don't know if it was the ghost or the crackheads, but they were loud. Ghost locked me in the bathroom.
Oh, he was doing something bad.
Smelled like a wet, damp weed fart that may have been, that may have stained their britches.
What is a wet, damp weed fart?
They're saying the hotel room stank.
Yeah, I know, but what is a weed fart?
That apparently left stains in your britches.
Like, does weed do that? Are we talking about like marijuana?
Yeah. Talking about like wet weed fart that might have stained your britches. Smelled like someone had a breacher before they made it to the bathroom.
Okay, that makes more sense.
The hotel was bad. I think the ghost tagged along with me to escape. Now stuff is moving in my house. Not cool.
Just, man, I stayed here for the novelty and now I got a fucking ghost, man.
When expecting a ghost encounter, got crabs.
What is this, like a Ghostbuster situation?
Don't bring back up Dan Aykroyd's scene from the Ghostbusters, Chris.
Where he gets like a ghost blowjob?
God damn it. I don't know if it was... I don't know which episode you originally did. I know you edited it out because you made us both break so hard because you just kept talking about that.
I'm sorry.
Last one. There was ectoplasm on the sheets and the pillows.
I don't think that was ectoplasm.
So, about the hotel. It has gone through phases of being really good and also overpriced for what it is.
So is it kind of one of those things where like it keeps shifting management? And...
as it shifted between companies since the 60s. Yeah, but also think about it. This is a nearly 200-year-old building.
Yeah.
Maintenance and adding modern amenities to any of these buildings is going to be tough, and the maintenance of it is going to be tough. Also, think about this thing weathered Katrina.
Yeah, that's a I don't think, okay, like we all see pictures of Katrina and everything, but if you look at some of the buildings,
if like they still have a lot of buildings have changed and been repainted, but for a long time
there was buildings with
16 feet up, there was a black line painted on a lot of the buildings because that's how high the water got and stayed in the city for days.
And miraculously, a lot of those buildings
survived.
Like go down to, you can go down to the French Quarter, and it doesn't look like it's ever been hit.
Yeah. I mean, also, that's their moneymaker, man.
Yeah, I mean, that is moneymaker. But, I mean, even if you go into one of the wards, I mean, it's been, like, what, 20 years now?
Yeah. You can still find houses with the X's on them.
Really?
Well, I mean, they've stayed abandoned.
Ugh, that's...
Because for some reason, people will keep abandoned and destroyed properties for tax purposes.
That's kind of dark.
But, like, the thing is that now it seems like it's a decent price. You know, you need to go knowing that you're going to stay in an old building. It's just like the Napoleon and like some of the other hotels I've talked about in the past in New Orleans. You're staying in an old building. And since it's an old building, it's going to be quirky and there's going to be issues and there's going to be a breeze. Stuff's not going to be square. If you're going in there expecting this to be like the biggest luxury resort ever, it's going to be it's like staying at the Arlington. Like, I loved it. But, like, if I was going there for, like, a premium experience, like a lot of people say that it was in the past, I was almost too broad for the shower.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
like, if you're going...
It's like 1950s, 1960s luxury versus...
Or even before that.
I'm just saying, like, the Arlington's like 1950s, 1960s luxuries. The Delphine is a little bit like that. This is luxuries that aren't maybe 100% now, but you're paying for...
You're paying for the experience of staying in a historical building.
Right. So just beware of that. Know that you might have an off stay, especially if it's off season and people are not 100% doing what they're supposed to, because we can't lie. Hotel staff don't always.
Not everyone's at their best, especially in a place like New Orleans, which is constantly busy, or at least it used. I don't know how it is recently, but
yeah. So I mean, the thing is that I think that the hotel's probably a decent place to stay if you want the experience to do once. However, I'm also one for not staying in the French Quarter because I don't like trying to drive.
Yeah,
in the French Quarter.
The few times I've driven in the French Quarter, it's been a pain in the ass.
Yeah, Rampart is a wider street and it still sucks to go down.
Yeah. I've had to go down Decatur. And
yeah.
I hate
It's and when it turns into St. Peter.
Yeah, no.
And gets narrow right there by the market. Yeah, no, that sucks.
Like going down Decatur, and because I went to see. I think I've talked about it before.
You went when you went and saw Gojira?
No, not Gojira. Macedon.
Oh.
Yeah, same place actually. We saw Macedon in like 2013, 2014. And in 2021, we saw Gojira in the same Civic Theater. Civic Theater is great, by the way. If you ever get to see a band, especially like, a metal band, great place. It's big enough to house a lot of people, but it's also very intimate.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, when we went to go see Macedon, we had to park in the French Quarter because at the time I didn't really know better. The best way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
hit that $100 parking charge.
It wasn't $100 parking charge because we managed to stay in a spot. We managed to get a spot that wasn't like stupid expensive, at least at the time. But getting out, it was like 30 minutes because the next day it was the fucking Super Bowl.
Oh, that fucking sucks.
Yeah, or it wasn't the Super Bowl. My bad. The Super Bowl was this year in New Orleans. It was a Saints game.
Yeah.
Still same difference, really.
Pretty much.
Like, if you have a Saints game at the Superdome in New Orleans, it's packed. It took us 4 hours to get out of the fucking city, by the way. And 2 of those hours were spent in the French Quarter trying to get out.
Now, as for is this place really haunted? I don't think any of the named ghosts, other than maybe the last courtesan, are real. I don't believe in the Confederate general. I don't believe in the bride, mostly because those stories are so interchangeable with any other building in the South. The last courtesan is also kind of a trope, the madam that never left the bar. But there are a lot of people that noted I got locked in the bathroom.
And it's also a very specific character. Like, the madam seemed like a very specific character that is tied to that bar, and the ghost is acting very much like that character. Now, her character could have been characterized. I keep using that word, characterized, like after death.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she might not have been like this badass that like
fought cops.
Yeah,
punched a dude in the face just cause.
She might not have been that,
Pulled out her titty nickels in a sock and took someone to town.
but, you know, it fits in with the lore.
It does. Now, as for a lot of the other little stuff, I will give some of that some credence, like the poltergeist activity. Mostly because enough people have reported their stuff got moved and were not out drinking all night and then came back and forgot they moved it.
Well, here's the thing. Here's something I don't think I've ever brought up. It's the idea of just residual haunting. Like, in terms of, like, not residual in terms of, like, the stone tape, but just weird shit generally happening in old places.
Yeah, I mean, so
Yeah.
I think it might be safe to say I'm not 100% sure it's haunted, but I think there's some paranormal shit there.
Yeah.
There's some weird stuff. I also wouldn't mind staying there one night.
Oh, yeah. Just, one night, just
yeah. My sources are the Delphine or the DelphineOrleans.com, TripAdvisor, GhostCity.com, Delphine, plus a whole bunch of letters. USGhostAdventures.com, Haunted City, New Orleans. MidnightBoheme.com, Wandering Spirits of the Delphine Hotel. GhostCityTours.com, a different article for the Delphine. May Bailey's Place. And WGNO.com, News with a Twist. The Delphine Hotel is really haunted and certified.
Also, I like this. I always love learning more about New Orleans. I mean, part of the reason why we did this podcast is not only to like bring up weird stuff, but just kind of exchange and learn new things about our state.
Like a future episode that we're going to do later, I almost did tonight, is I got one for a building here in town.
Oh, that would be awesome. Like,
one that legitimately we could go to and explore with permission.
I think I know which one you're talking about, but you're going to have to wait for that episode because we are Backwoods Obscura. We release every Tuesday and we are on Blue Sky. We're on TikTok. We're on Patreon. We're on Facebook. We're trying to learn how to do the whole social media thing. So just bear with us. Send us a like, send us some hate. We don't care. We'll get sassy with you, okay? But we're also Team Bonus Action. Team
Bonus Action is a group of friends who like to play D&D and other tabletop games on Sunday and Monday. We are loosely right now connected to the Trevor Project and the ACLU, so if you could donate, we would greatly appreciate it.
And with that, I hope you have a good day or night or whatever time it is over there.
Hey, Chris. Hey.
What?
Watch your booty. The ghost's gonna touch it.
Oh, get away, ghost.